Today, I want to share with you how I built a new website for this channel. I decided to go with Framer out of all the tools out there, and I'll tell you exactly why. I'll also show you how I used AI to build custom components that work with the CMS to create a fully interactive directory of all the tools that I use on this channel. If you want to build a dynamic website with AI that is free and effortless to update, then you need to watch this video. And guys, the workflow I'm gonna show you today is something that I haven't seen anywhere else on YouTube. It took me a lot of trial and error to figure it out, but I simplified it so that anyone can replicate my steps. And before we begin, I want to thank Framer for sponsoring this video and supporting my channel. Click the link in the description to start using Framer. It's almost completely free, which blows my mind. Alright, first of all, I want to tell you the story of why I'm building this website and why I decided to go with Framer. I decided to create this website because I get a lot of comments from you guys and from people around me asking what AI tools to use. And you guys trust my channel to give you in-depth explanations of AI tools, but sometimes you just want a quick search to get your answers. This website will be a directory of AI tools for uiux that will give you all the answers immediately. And as a long-time product designer and AI tools expert, I decided to go with Framer because it ticks all my boxes. Here are my strict requirements. I need a website to have a CMS that is easy to manage and update, so it can't be generated completely with AI. I also wanted to have strong SEO. Now, website builders like Wix and Squarespace can rank fine, but I want deep technical control over my page structure and loading speed to really win on Google. I'm also looking for a free solution. That way I don't get locked into paying for hosting and services while I'm just building and testing the idea, but I also want it to be scalable. And most importantly, I need complex, pixel-perfect control over the design, which I don't get with AI tools. So I started exploring Framer, but the moment I fell in love with it was when they released their AI feature called Workshop. I talked about it in a previous video. It's mind-blowing how you can create a component with AI and still have 100% control over the design properties. Let me show you. So I have a plan for my website. I have all of the requirements that I need to include in my website, but I don't have any design or visuals yet. All I have is the ideas and the product requirements. Now for my website here, the main component that is gonna be the highlight of the website, of the experience on the website, is the tool card, because people are gonna be browsing for AI tools and I want the browsing experience to be very clear and give the most information to the user before even clicking on the card. So the card itself is gonna have information like what category is this tool, how hard it is, how expensive it is, and what I personally think about it. So I had this idea of creating a card component that has all of the information in the front, but then it will flip if you click on it. And then once it's flipped, it will show you my personal take on this tool. So because I'm very particular about the details and the placement of these details on the card, I created a quick mock-up of what I imagine the card will look like. That way I will have a starting point where I can visually give the AI what I want and it will create it. So here's a quick mock-up that I created. The card will have how easy or hard it is in a dot system and how expensive or free it is. And then I have the star here that will show up if this tool is in my toolkit. So I have a section where I will show my toolkit, the tools that I actually use every day. And I have this tooltip button that when you click on it, it will flip the card and will show you my personal take on this tool. And also one thing you need to do before you start is that you need to define the elements that you're gonna need to be able to edit in a CMS. And while you're planning this component, make sure that you include all of the data that you're gonna need to be updating per tool. In my example, per tool. This is a directory website where I'm gonna need to be updating it regularly, so I need a CMS here. A CMS is a content management system where you can easily modify and update the list of items that you have on your website. It can be done for a portfolio or for e-commerce or anywhere you need to add items and manage items. So you're gonna need to get into the mindset of thinking about a component in terms of CMS. What elements of this component are fixed and what elements need to be customized per product. For my component, I have this table here that I created. It includes all of the data that are going to be shown per item or per AI tool that I'm using. Of course, I have the tool name, and you're going to need a slug so that the CMS will identify what this tool is. And of course, I'm going to have a logo and my summary and a full description and a short description. And for the difficulty and for the cost, I'm going to have it as a number type. Usually it would be an option type because I have multiple options here that I can select from. But for the purpose of making this AI component work with the CMS, it's going to have to be a number. You're going to understand that a little bit later. Same for the category. And then we have the star that will be added to show if it's in my toolkit, and then a few links and a text field. So now I have my CMS structure ready, and I have my mockup for the card ready, so I can start building this component inside Framer using AI. So in Framer, open a new project and then click on this button at the bottom here, and then click on Workshop. And this is the tool that you're going to be working with to create your component. All you have to do here is attach any images if you have any reference, and write the requirements in the prompt field. All right, here it is. I entered my reference images, and I even added the image of my table as a reference so that it can create all of these editable properties inside of the component. And make sure while you're building it, you tell it that you want the difficulty level and the cost level, or any other things that you have multiple choice for. Tell it to make them a number field. That way it will surface it as a number field, and it's going to be useful later when we work with the CMS. And after a few prompts to refine and modify the design, this is what I ended up with. I can click on preview at the top here, and you can see my card, and if I click on tooltip, it will flip around and show me the details that I want to show. And I moved the cost and difficulty to the bottom, that way I have more space for the name at the top. And on the right side panel, you can see how you have all of these editable properties for this component. It adhered to my prompt completely. It gave me a field for the name, a field for the category where I can change it, and based on the number, it's going to be uiux or animation or video. And then I have the description field, and I have the difficulty level here. If I change it to 3, it's going to be pro. If I change it to 1, it's easy. Same with the cost level. You have free, low cost, or paid. And then I have an option here where I can say yes or no for is it in Jad's toolkit. If I say no, it's going to take out the star. If I say yes, it will add the star. And I have the rest of the fields where I have the logo and the avatar image on the flip side, and other options to modify the colors and stuff like that. So this is great. I have all of these editable properties inside of this card, and I just created this with AI. I didn't have to manually design anything. Now that I have my component ready, it's time to build the actual website. All right, I'm gonna go to the dashboard here and create a new project. And the great thing about Framer is that it has a lot of templates, which is great for not starting from scratch. You can pick any template to start with, but make sure you pick the right template. And also make sure you click on all templates at the bottom, because there are a few here, but these are not all the templates they have. Click on all templates and you will see a page that has so many templates and so many categories, and a lot of them are free. So what I'm going to do here is, because my website is a directory, I'm going to search for directory. That way I will have a template that has a good structure for the layout and good structure for the CMS that I intend to have. So I'm gonna write directory here, and there we go. I have all these options, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna select pricing, then free, and now I have a few results that I can actually test and see if I like. So make sure you preview a template before you start using it. All right, for me, I found this great template here that completely matches what I am intending to do with my website. It is a directory for AI tools, which is almost similar to what I'm doing, but what I'm doing is specifically for uiux. And it has great design and dark theme, which I like. And it has a CMS collection where I can manage the content of the website. So all you have to do here is click on use, and now this project is yours. Go ahead and customize it. But what I want to show you now is how to make that component that we created with AI work with the CMS. So first thing we're gonna do here is go to the CMS button at the top here. And here you will see all of the items that were added to this website. You have categories here, and then you have a collection for tools. And this is where I want to include all of my tools that I'm using. So I will delete these and then I will populate them with my tools. But first, we're gonna go back to that table that we came up with, this table right there. And we're gonna build the structure of the CMS to match what we have here. So you're gonna go to edit fields at the top of your CMS collection. Make sure you're in the right collection. And directly from here, you can click edit fields. And this is what we're gonna be working with. I'm gonna work side by side here. I have my table on the right. And all I have to do is match this with the fields that I have here in Framer CMS. So the first one is called name, for example. So I'm going to show you how I'm doing this. The first field we have is name. I want to call this tool name. I'll just do that, tool name. And then we have description. This description is to help whoever is entering the data into the CMS. This will not show up to the users. And I don't want this to be required. All I have to do here is just, yeah, that's all I need. I need a small text field. I don't need it to be a text area because I don't want it to be a paragraph. This is just a completely plain text field. So I'll leave everything as it is. And then I'm gonna start going one by one. If you find a matching field here, you can modify it to fit what you're looking for. For example, the tool icon, I'm gonna call it tool logo, and you can add a default photo that will show up if you don't enter a photo while you're adding this CMS item to your website. So this is an image field and I have it here. And then we have the slug, which will always appear when you're adding CMS fields, and we have it here at the bottom. I'm gonna move it to the top just to have my list organized as I have it in my table. So it will look like this. If you have a blog, it will show you blog, then slash post title. So the slug is gonna be based on the tool name, which is perfect. So we have tool name slug, then logo, and then we have my summary, which is plain text and shows on the flip side. So after tool logo, I want to add a new field here. I'm just gonna click plus and I'm gonna say plain text. Now I have this new field here right below my logo. And I'm gonna call this Jat summary. The next one is a short description. I'm gonna add a text field again, plain text, and I'm gonna call this short description. And for this one, I'm gonna have a text area. Then I have formatted text. Now for the full description, I need to have formatted text because this will show up on the full page of the tool. I'll call this full description and everything else as is. Now we're gonna have difficulty level. And as I said before, usually if you're not working with the AI components, you would pick the option field here. And the option field will allow you to add multiple options so that you can select one of them. But for my case here, I'm gonna remove this. To make this work, I'm gonna add a number field. I'll call this difficulty. And here I'm gonna add the description just to make it clear for whoever is editing this website. It's gonna be me mostly. 1 is easy, 2 is medium, and 3 is pro. So I'll just copy that and paste it here. That way I can remember what 1 and 2 and 3 means. And the default, I'm gonna enter 1 here. And minimum is going to be 1 and maximum is going to be 3. And here you can modify if you want a slider or a stepper. I'm going to make it a stepper where you click plus or minus. That's all you need to do when you have an option field like that. I'm going to do the same for the cost level. Exactly the same, but for cost. And then I have the category and I also have that as a number, and I have what each number means here. So I'm gonna add a new number field and I'll paste my text here. And I'm gonna leave this one as 0 default and 0 minimum because maybe sometimes I don't want to add a category to a tool. And I'll enter the max as 3. I can always change this later on when I want to add more categories. But for now I have 3 and that's it. Now I need to be able to control when the star is showing up. The star, that means it's in my toolkit. This means it's a tool that I want to highlight. I'm going to add a toggle type field. So this toggle is going to be Jat's toolkit, and I'll explain what this is. adds a star onto the card, and I don't want this to be turned on by default. That's it. And then I have two link fields that I want to add. I'll just simply add a link field, and I'll call this one the YouTube URL, and the next one is the tool link. And then finally, a field for promo code in case I have a promo code. Plain text. So we're gonna go and delete all of these products, and then we'll add our own products. Now I have a blank CMS collection that I can start to build. I'm gonna go to the tools page and see what it looks like. Now I don't have any tools here because I deleted them. And then I can see the tool description, the tool details page, which looks like this. Okay, now before I put in my component and start working on the gallery of tools that I have, I want to customize the website a little bit to remove the things that I don't need. You can do this before or after. I'm doing it before I add my component. So make sure you replace your logo. I'll remove the sections that I don't need. Make sure you customize all the links. Okay, so now we're at the point where I want to import that component and make it work with my CMS. I want to connect it with my CMS. All I have to do is add it to a page where a CMS collection is linked. So for my example here, I can see in the sidebar, like this is where the items go. So if I click on this, I can see that this is a CMS collection. It has this icon beside it. Whenever a layer has the CMS icon, that means it's connected to a CMS. And there you can paste your card, which will communicate with the CMS. So if you just paste your component anywhere on the website, it will not work. You will not be able to connect it with the CMS. So I'm just gonna go and copy this component here. I'll go back here and I'll paste it inside this layer. There we go. Now we have the tool card that I created inside of the CMS component. Now I added my new tool card and I'll remove whatever existed here before. Now it's not showing up because I don't have any items in my CMS, but you will see what it looks like once you add your CMS data. So I'm gonna remove this. And now I have my tool card inside of the tools grid that is connected to a CMS. I'm gonna go to my CMS, I'll add a new item, and here I'm gonna start by adding my information. All right, I added some descriptions here. For the difficulty level, you can see how I can manage them here. For example, for Framer here, I'm gonna say it's a pro tool or medium because right now it's getting easier to use with AI. And the cost level, it's free, so I'm gonna leave it as 1. And for category, I'm gonna make it 1 for your uiux. And yes, it's in my toolkit. And now I can save this and it will be added to my CMS collection. Now I have my component showing up in this tools collection. I will do the same for everywhere the tools are showing up. So when you click on browse all tools, it's gonna show you the full page of the tools. But here I want this to be, I'll call it Jat's collection. And then I'm gonna go back to the pages and I'm gonna go to the tools page, and this is where all the tools are gonna show up. And to modify this component, I'm just gonna double click on it, and here I can see this card design and I want to make it my own. So I'm gonna delete everything in here, and inside of variant 1, I'm gonna paste my component. There we go. And of course, I'll adjust the frame size. These layout properties are the same as Figma, so if you know Figma, you're going to be very familiar with how the layout properties work. And if you have any questions, of course, you can ask me down in the comments and I'll answer everything. But it's all very straightforward and easy. It just depends on your specific component. There we go. We have the component here in the exact same size as the frame. And I don't need the hover for this. I just have my component here now, and back in the tools page, I can fix the layout a little bit more to make it show my full component. There we go. Now if I have more than one, they're gonna stack on the page, and just add 2 so that you can test the layout, and then add 4 so you can test the layout vertically. For this browse tools page, I'm gonna remove some elements here as well. I don't need this navigation at the left side. So this is my tools page. Now we got to the part where we need to connect this AI-generated component with a CMS collection. Since this is the main component here, I'm going to click on it and you will see I have all of these properties that I can modify. This was all generated by AI and it's allowing me to modify them. But I don't want to manually modify them on the card. I want it to pull this info from the CMS. So all I'm going to do here is click on tool name, and here you can create a variable that you can use on the website. Now we're modifying the component itself. So I want to create a variable. I'll say create a variable. I will call it tool name because that's the name that I have in my gallery for this specific field. So this is a tool name. I add it here. And then if I go back to the tools page, now I can see I have tool name available in my properties. Since I can modify it from here now, I still don't want to modify it manually and type the name. I want it to pull it from the CMS. So now I click on tool name and I will say set variable. Here it's collecting all of my data from the CMS. I will go to tool name. This is the field that I already set up in my CMS. It's called tool name. I'll click on it and now it will get the name that I have in my collection. Do the same for all of the fields that you have. So I'm gonna go back to here. I'm gonna add the variable for each one. All you have to do is click on create variable for each field. Okay, these are the fields that I want to be modified based on the CMS collection. So I created all of the variables here. I'll go back to my page, to my tools page, and here I can now see all of the properties that I need to connect to my CMS. So for category, I'm gonna go and set variable, and I'll find the category variable that I have. For description, I'm gonna go and set variable to the description, which is this short description here. JAT summary, I'll go and set the variable to JAT summary. Now here's an important problem that you might run into. When you're setting a variable for a field here, if you can see an arrow beside it, that means it does not connect properly to the CMS. So for example, here I'm connecting a text field. In my CMS, the field is properly configured as text, so I am able to connect it. Difficulty level. This is why we set it as number and not option field type. When you make it a number field, you are able to connect it to the CMS because it understands that language. So here I'm gonna say difficulty level. You can see I don't have an arrow here. That means I can connect it and it will pull the data. Now my fields are set up. Now, if you run into that problem where a field cannot be connected to the CMS because the format doesn't match, all you have to do is go back to the workshop, go to the component that you created with AI, tell it what you need to fix. For example, if you want to change an option field into a number field, just say that. Say change the property of difficulty field to be a number instead of an option field, and it will understand that. And give it the logic that works behind those numbers that are going to be controlling the option. And this was part of my prompt that I gave it here. I gave it the component logic, and you have to tell it what 1 means and what 2 means and what 3 means, and then it will assign those numbers to the options inside of your component. I hope that's not too complicated, but once you try it, you'll grasp the concept behind it. So modify your main component and go back to your project and then paste it here, and now your component will have all of the abilities to connect it to SMS. So now in my tools page, I can see that my component here is connected to the collection. Let's go and try to add another tool to the collection. Here, I added another item to my list. And there we go, we have 2 items now. I'll go back to my page, and there we go. I have UX Pilot and Framer inside of this container. And of course, you have to fix the layout here. So here I can see I have 3 columns, only want to show 2 columns. So I'll make it 2, and now I can go and preview, and I can click on this and flip it, and it will be revealing the other side properly. All right, I continued customizing the website and adding data to the CMS to see how it looks like. And this is what the website looks like now. I'll click on preview, and here you can see I can flip the cards, and I can go to the home page, and here I will see only the ones that have the star in them. And if I click on Browse All Tools, I'll see everything. Back to the home page, I'll show you how I did the filter to show only the ones with the star here. I'm gonna go to Layers, and I'll select the top layer of this section, which is the tool grid here. Here, this is where I can enter a filter in the content section on the sidebar. In the content section here, you have filters, and I added a filter that is based on if it's included in Jat's toolkit or not. That means it will only show the ones that are in my toolkit here on the homepage. I also want to mention that if you're adding this custom component that you created with AI onto the collection itself here without having it be as a component, because in this template it's a component, so I have to double click on it and modify the main component, and from the tool card I have to add those properties so that I can leverage them anywhere in the design. But if you're not working with a single component, you're working directly onto the page. If you're adding it on a page that is connected to the CMS, you won't have to add variables before you connect them to your CMS. You will be able to directly connect them to the CMS from here. It's two ways. One way is where you're working with a component, you have to add the variables first. And if you're working directly on it without a component, you will already have these here and you can directly connect them to a variable. So if you have them directly here, not inside the component, you can immediately set the variables. You will be able to see the list of variables that are connected to your CMS. Now make sure you finalize everything about your website. Of course, customize your footer and your links, your navigation, how many pages do you want, and delete the rest of the pages if you want, or keep them for later. But right now I only have 2 pages and the tool details page. Once everything is set up, now you have to manage the settings of your website. So go to the settings by clicking on this button at the top, and here you will be able to see all of the details of your website for SEO and stuff like that. So make sure you enter your SEO settings here, and you're gonna have settings for each page and for the home page. So I added an image for the home page so that it can show a preview when shared. And you have your general settings for the whole website. What do you want to call it? What do you want the description to be? This is very essential for this website to be relevant on Google. Once the website is indexed, then it will start ranking in Google results. And of course, add your icon and everything else to customize it fully. Once you do that, you can add your custom domain, or if you subscribe to a plan on Framer, they will give you a free domain. So you can make use of that and save some money. And once you have your domain connected, you will be able to just click publish whenever you make some changes. If you click on publish, you will see here that I just published it and I have no changes. But if you make some changes, it will show you the changes here, and all you have to do is click update and your live site will be updated. And also make sure if you have any forms on your website that they are properly set up. I have this subscribe to the newsletter form here. I'm gonna double click on it, and here in the layers panel select the form, and in the sidebar you will be able to control where this form submits the info to. And also make sure that your responsive design is properly set up. You can see here I have the tablet design and the mobile design. Make sure everything looks good and test it on your phone to make sure that all of the functionality is working and the layout and stuff like that. And there you go, a fully interactive directory that is now super easy to maintain and update. I built this website in a genuine effort to solve a problem that you may be facing. So I want you to be involved in the process of building this website. Right now I published it as a draft and it's live on the web. You can go and check it out and tell me your feedback down in the comments, things you like about the tool, and any relevant info you think would be valuable to display about these tools, or even any features that you think would be helpful for finding the perfect tool for yourself. Basically, anything you have to say, I'll be listening and improving this website. If this breakdown helped you figure out how to build your own directory or just gave you some ideas for your own product building, hit the like button and make sure you subscribe for more deep dives into AI tools that are actually worth your time. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.